Ever stumble upon a bookshop, the kind that's practically bursting with old books? Like you can almost smell the history, feel the stories whispering from the shelves?
Oh, absolutely. There's something magical about those places.
Right. Well, today we're diving into a novel that bottles up that magic perfectly. The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods.
Ah, excellent choice. This one's a real treat for book lovers, especially if you enjoy a touch of mystery and a dash of magic in your reads.
It's got it all. Mystery, magical realism, and at its core, it's a love letter to books and, those who cherish them.
It's like stepping into one of those enchanting bookshops, but with an added layer of intrigue. You'll quickly find yourself swept up in a tale that spans across time.
Speaking of time, that's one of the things that makes The Lost Bookshop so captivating. It's told through a dual timeline, jumping between the 1920s and the present day. Imagine that, the roaring 20s and the modern world, woven together by a shared mystery.
And it's not just any mystery. It's deeply rooted in the world of antiquarian books. We're talking rare editions, forgotten manuscripts, whispers of the past hidden within their pages.
Exactly. And in the 1920s, we meet Opaline, a young woman trying to make a name for herself in the world of antiquarian book selling. Not exactly an easy feat in those days, right?
Oh, absolutely not. The antiquarian book trade back then, well, it was very much a man's world. Opaline's journey, her struggles to be taken seriously, it's a big part of what makes the story so compelling.
And that's where the brilliance of this dual timeline really comes into play. As we follow Opaline navigating the challenges of her time, we simultaneously see how her experiences connect to the present day mystery. It's as if the past is, well, reaching out, shaping the present.
It's like those old books hold more than just stories. They hold echoes of the past that resonate through time.
Okay, ready for the really fun part? Let's talk about the magical realism woven into the narrative. And don't worry, it's not over the top, in your face magic. It's subtle, almost like a whisper, where books act as these portals to other worlds. It's that kind of magic that makes you believe, even just for a little bit.
Now, speaking of magical places, what about that vanished bookshop itself?
Mm-hmm.
The one that gives the book its title. It's more than just a missing building, it's like a symbol.
Right, like a metaphor. How does this lost haven for stories, this place brimming with imagination, just vanish? And what does its disappearance mean for the characters, for the stories themselves?
It makes you think about the power of stories, how they can shape us, define us even. And when those stories are seemingly lost, well, what impact does that have? That's a big part of what the book explores.
It really makes you appreciate those places where stories come alive, doesn't it? And speaking of characters coming alive, The Lost Bookshop is full of them. We've touched on Opaline, but there's also Martha, who's trying to unravel the mystery in the present day, and Henry, a reclusive author with secrets of his own.
Each character, they're on their own unique journey, but they're all drawn together by this vanished bookshop and the mysteries surrounding it.
And it's fascinating to see how each character's personal story intersects with the larger mystery. Like with Okaline, her fight to be recognized in a male-dominated field, it speaks to that universal desire to have your voice heard, to leave your mark on the world. And it's something that I think a lot of us can relate to, even today.
Absolutely. And her story, it highlights how some things unfortunately don't change as much as we'd like them to, even across decades.
It really makes you think about those who came before us, the challenges they faced, and how their stories can still inspire us, all these years later.
Okay, ready for another layer of intrigue. Enter the hidden manuscript.
Ah, yes, the hidden manuscript. This is where the mystery really kicks into high gear. It's not just some old scroll tucked away in a dusty corner. It holds secrets that could change everything. Right. This manuscript becomes a symbol for the enduring power of stories, how they can transcend time and still have a profound impact on the present. And trust me, there are some serious twists and turns as the characters get closer to uncovering its secrets.
It keeps you guessing until the very end. And speaking of the ending, without giving anything away, I'll just say this. It's one of those endings that stays with you.
Definitely. It's one of those endings that makes you want to close the book, take a deep breath, and maybe pour yourself a glass of wine and just sit with all the emotions it stirs up. It's bittersweet, hopeful, and most importantly, it leaves you thinking.
And that's the beauty of a well-crafted story, isn't it? It sparks something in you, leaves you with lingering questions and a renewed appreciation for the power of storytelling.
Absolutely. So as you embark on your own journey through the Lost Bookshop, and I really do recommend you do, I hope it inspires you to think about the stories that have shaped your own life.
Yes, think about it. What forgotten places, what memories do those stories evoke? Because ultimately, that's what this book reminds us of. the magic we find when we open ourselves up to the power of stories, both the ones we read and the ones we carry within us.
Beautifully said. Well, that wraps up our deep